I hope we're live.
I hope we're live.
I'm watching the playback real quick here to make certain that it's actually us. It is us. We're here. And this is RV Underway for a Sunday afternoon, 4 o'clock Eastern time, just in case you were not sure what time it was. We are in an RV park on a military installation, and we are still getting the remnants of Delta. So that will tell you exactly what part of the country we're in. So
yeah, that will tell you.
We got some special guests coming on to join us today, as the thumbnail indicated. And our topic today is going to be
downsizing.
Downsizing.
Tips. We need your tips, hints, clues, secrets.
And if Larry and Alice are out there, we'd love to talk with y'all. You can come on with us. We're going to be bringing on board a lot of folks. If you want to come and speak with us and just join the chat and be on the live stream as we talk about downsizing, because it is a topic that we really need to get serious about. Miss Barbara has started doing more of it than me, and she's done about that. Can you see? She's done about that much. There. She's done about that much.
I haven't done a lot.
Because she is a hoarder.
Because I'm doing other things like going to the doctors.
No, I'm not talking about the actual process of doing it. I'm talking about the process of having collected over all the years.
Oh.
Why are you pointing at me? It's not me. I'm not the hoarder.
How many broken, unusable computer
That's
components
absolutely,
do you have?
that is absolutely beside the point. Those are items that can be used again one day. Elizabeth Carter, Over the Hill RV. Dan, the Vintage RVer. Good to see y'all. Mary Jones.
It's about time now.
It's about time now.
See if we get anybody else here.
Proud to see y'all in here for a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah. For us, a rainy Sunday afternoon.
It is. It's just been drizzly and rainy all day. It started about midnight last night. And of course, it rained yesterday, which is when we got here. And our GPS took us,
oh my gosh,
the long way around. Hello, Susan.
GPSs are great, wonderful things, but they don't know when gates are closed and no longer used, when there's construction going on, roads that are closed. They don't always know that. So, it was quite the long way around.
It was. Well, I guess we can go ahead and bring our guest on board, and they're going to help us talk about downsizing, because it's an evolution that they have just completed relatively recently, meaning the past couple of months. And they've got quite the story to tell, and they've told it before. And so we're not going to retell the story. We're just going to talk about methods and ideas and tips and pitfalls and planning, if there is such a thing behind planning, because I figure, honestly, I say we list the house with a realtor first, and then that kind of lights the fire, because there's nothing like being under pressure to make you get something done. Right now, we're not under pressure to do it.
Well, the only problem I have with all of that is somebody's going to see the condition of the house that we're not living in.
Well, they're not going to see it. We're going to list it with a realtor, and the realtor's going to say, hey, I've got people that want to see the property. And we are going, okay, give us another week. We'll be ready. Give us 2 weeks. We'll be ready. We'll have to do it at that point.
I see.
We absolutely have to. So, Miss Barbara, since you're in the driver's chair, go ahead and send a link to our guests.
Votes Marching Wanderings. Hello from Joe. I bet you 10-1 that that's my sister.
I bet you it is.
I
Votes
bet you.
Marching Wanderings.
good to see you and Bill.
That would probably be Jolynn.
Yeah, Jolynn and BJ. All right.
Aren't they the recumbent wanderers?
Yes, that's why I said it's probably them. It's good to have you here. I'm glad you guys are here.
Y'all. Good to see you.
All right, so what am I supposed to be doing?
You're going to send a link to our guests. So what you're going to do is you're going to click right there where it says invite.
Okay. I haven't done this in a long time.
And you're going to copy the clipboard.
Okay.
And you're simply going to put it right over there in the comments.
Okay.
And post it in. Folks, this is, right now it's for our guests, but ultimately it's for anybody who wants to join us and talk about downsizing.
Okay.
Now, is your speaker on that computer turned up? Check the volume on your speaker.
Not, because I had it down low.
That's good.
88. Yeah, I guess
that's
it
good,
is.
because we do want to hear those that log in. But anyway, we have put our link into the chat, and that is for our guests. They know who they are, and when they get ready, they will join us. James Catanese, it's so good to see you. RVers Live, that of course is, we know him as Papa Drew's RVing, but that's Papa Drew over at RVers Live, and he's probably already started in. Go ahead and post that one link right there.
This one or this one?
Post it, show
it.
I'm scared to even put it up there.
Sometimes it is a scary thing.
What does he say?
What has me scratching my head is the moron who designed the washing machine to make it look like the inside of the space shuttle. Yes. Good morning, folks. That's from Johnny's Journey. It's good to have you here. Camping Therapy is here with us now. And are we ready for them?
I believe our guests are in the guest room. They're backstage in the green room, enjoying a plethora. Go ahead and hit that right there.
Oh, no. That was too funny.
Makes it a little easier. And if you didn't already know, our guests today are Michael and Shelly and Talon of Our Epic RV Adventure. And where are y'all at? You can go ahead and talk.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
You're messing with me.
We are at a military campground. We've been here for about a week or so. And we've just been enjoying our 3 months now? 3 months of full-time living.
And that is exactly what our topic today is: downsizing. Not necessarily the full-time RVing side of it, but downsizing. Yes, he's got his RV underway hat on. And I've got my true colors.
Yeah. And well, here's my suggestion. Here's some tips I have. Years ago, when we moved to North Carolina, so that was 3 houses ago, we were packing up and we found a box about yay big, still taped shut from when we moved into that house. And we're like, we're not even going to open the box. We just throw it away. I don't know what was in the box, but apparently I didn't care what was in that box because it had been taped up at that point for 3 or 4 years. And who knows? It was probably taped up from the previous house too, and we just drug it with us. So when we downsized this time, obviously to a much smaller footprint, if we took a picture of it, except for very, very, very few things, and the rest we just got rid of. Either we donated it or sold it.
Or send it to our daughter.
Yeah.
And her son has some stuff in storage.
Point number one, if I'm hearing you correctly, would be to basically keep the absolute necessity. And the smaller, the better.
Exactly. I mean, we talked about this on some of our videos and live streams. Like, I threw away my Letterman's jacket from high school. I certainly can't wear it anymore. And even if I could, that would be kind of creepy, seeing a 50-some-odd-year-old man wearing a high school Letterman's jacket. So I got rid of it because my kids don't want it. They didn't even go to that high school. They didn't go to so they have no connection to it. So why keep stuff? We tend to keep stuff so our children can throw it away after we pass.
Proceeding onward in America, good to see y'all. Also, I saw up there where, scroll up there. I just wanted to say hello to, you went, Johnny's Journeys. That's it, Johnny's Journeys. Thank y'all for being here. Our guests today are Michael and Shelly and Talon from Our Epic RV Adventure. Posh Cats Camping from across the pond. Good to have y'all join us today. 19 folks in the room right now. We're talking about downsizing, and we've already covered point number 1. Downsizing involves getting rid of some things that you thought were important to you, which really you already have the memory of. Miss Barbara talked about photo albums. She said, you know, photo album is a big bulky thing, and we have collected them for years and years and years. Well, they have a thing called a scanner. Scan everything that's important to you and give it away. Now, you have 2 children. We have 3 children. And we're going to go through that process and have already started that process of, look, here it is. What you want, take it. Yep. Please, what you want, take it. So I assume you went through that process with your children.
Give it to them while they can still use it.
True. You can't, JW, you cannot use all your old, used, not working computer stuff.
Well,
yeah, those 286 motherboards you got laying around, Ricky, they just need to roll. They just need to go.
I got some sweet blue chip and Packard Bell computers that I'm just waiting for them to come back around, you know. And those Amber monitors, I think they'll make a comeback.
I've heard they're making a comeback.
And dot matrix printers. Why would you ever get rid of a dot matrix printer? And a rollerball mouse. A rollerball mouse with the 9-pin serial.
So I see that there's some people in the chat that are saying that if they inherit anything, they're just going to sell it. They have their own collections. They don't want it. And that does tend to happen with this, you know, next generation. And that was kind of one of the things that we did put stipulations on certain things. If you take this is something that is family, and it is not something that you can sell. Like you have to take it, but when you're done, you have to give it to somebody else in the family. So, I mean, I think that there should be some stipulations on certain things. Like, you know, my grandfather had a table, and, you know, Michael's dad made, you know, a table. And so there were certain things that were, you know, made, and they really shouldn't be,
these are heirlooms. These are heirlooms. These are not.
Right.
Yeah.
But then there were things that we had that they wanted to take or whatever. And we're like, okay, you can have it and you can do whatever you want with it. And our daughter did sell a couple items, and that was fine with us. That once she got there, she realized, I really don't have a place for it. It's not going to be usable to me. And then I'm just storing it. And we're like, it's fine. You can sell it and you can, you know, keep the money for it.
How many people, and I want to show a hands. I want an answer to this question. How many people out there, you buy something, then you don't use it anymore, but you don't get rid of it because you may use it one.
What happened?
Uh-oh.
I think we lost him. Johnny's Journeys, we'll wait for him to come back into the live stream. Johnny's Journeys, Shelly, Michael, go ahead and try to log back in. Maybe you've got a bad connection, or we do, one or the other. But Johnny's Journey says, I just can't stand to get rid of it. I just can't stand to get rid of something. And I'm absolutely the same way. It is just, it's miserable. I mean, something as simple as my old Boy Scout handbook. My old Boy Scout, hang on. Somebody's at the door here. Hang on. Yes?
Hello.
What can I do for y'all?
Oh, hello, everybody.
Oh.
Hey, Talon.
Well, good grief. Y'all seem to be a long way off.
So I didn't fully answer your question about where we were.
Yeah.
We're right there.
You're right next door.
We're right next door.
Oh,
We're right next door.
They were right there the whole time.
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
And Talon is here too.
Yep, Talon's here.
All right, let's see if we can get a shot of
Oh,
Talon.
there's Talon.
There's Talon. Yes. All right. Well, yes, we kind of pulled y'all's leg. They're right next door.
Yeah, we
And
had
they
a
knew
good
it.
time.
We've actually been together all day long.
We have. We've been spending time together, and we've been touring around Montgomery. We're at Maxwell Air Force Base at the FAM camp, which is 2 weeks from everywhere.
Yeah, pretty much.
That is a great way to put it.
It is, of all, now we've only been doing this a couple of years, but of all the military camps, FAM camps that we have ever, or any camp for that matter, it is the hardest to get to. Because they've got construction going on base, but it's just it's a winding, weaving. You got to go around the airstrip, the flight line, and then of course our GPS took us to the wrong gate, and
The
that
gate
just
that's
started
permanently closed.
permanently closed. Well, anyway, your train of thought. You wanted
Yep.
to see a show of hands.
I want to see a show of hands to those people who go out that you bought something and I'm going to very specific because I know people buy something and they use it and then they don't use it anymore, but they don't want to get rid of it. I'm talking about people who buy something because they think they need this item, but they never use it. Maybe not even take it out of the box, but they don't return it and they keep it in case one day they do need it. And that day,
One day you will
and
need
that
it.
day never comes because Ricky, that brand new reel-to-reel recorder that you've got in the box still is kind of been made obsolete because you can't even buy tapes for
But
it.
I've got 5 Betamax machines.
Mine is more like kitchen gadgets that I think I'm going to be able to use or something, and then I have to wait for the right time, so I stick it into a cupboard, and then I forget I have it, and then
And that's the greatest thing about living in an RV. You can't have all those kitchen gadgets.
Yeah.
But it's also a downside, too, because I love some of those kitchen gadgets.
But IKEA makes a lot of collapsible kitchen gadgets.
Yes, they
they
do.
do.
Very collapsible and multi-purpose.
Yep.
That's another key. And when I was on active duty in the Navy, I was on submarines, and one thing you have to deal with on a submarine is space.
Yep.
But
And
yet
smell.
every system, that's true. 120 guys and beams on the mess deck.
Hello
the
to
systems,
Van
we have to
Wyck,
double up
Regina.
the
Hey,
system
Gina.
so you have double redundancy just in case one system breaks. You got to have a backup. So that takes up space, which leaves very little space for living, really. But things on a submarine all have double purpose. That seat that you're sitting on, oh, you can just about bet that's a storage compartment for something else. And that bulkhead that you think is between you and the water, there's actually some fuel or something stored on the other side of that bulkhead. So it's you have to think that way with RVs too. If you've got a dinette and it's just a dinette, it doesn't even make into a bed. There's some dead space right there.
And for a lot of people, that's a lot of dead space because they don't even eat in their RVs. They'll either eat out on the picnic table or they go out to eat. And we were watching Matt's RV reviews last night, and he was talking about that because the RV he was reviewing didn't have a table; it just had a desk. So it basically already had your setup, brand new from the factory. So they took your idea
and didn't pay me a dime for
and
it.
you didn't get it done.
Not a dime.
Yeah.
But would you say that Navy folks then are better at minimizing because
No.
they've had
Apparently not.
No, no.
That's the
I
question.
I
Or
wouldn't.
or did they have that time they had to minimize so when they got done
That's right. We expand.
they expanded
When
and
we
now
get in when we
They're
get into sticks
compensating.
and bricks, when we come topside and pop out of the scuttle, or when we get off the gangplank, having been at sea in a small frigate or destroyer or something, you just want to spread out because you've been so confined, and maybe that's the mentality. But really, that's not our mentality. Our mentality, because the Navy was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Our
That's
mentality
not an excuse.
is we're just hoarders. Or at
Yeah.
least I am. Barbara's not as much, but I don't have almost 1,000 Santa Clauses.
I think in every couple there's a hoarder and a not.
Well, I have a collection. My Santa Claus is a collection.
Well, then mine
They
is
were
a collection.
They were gifts given to me most of the
I've
year.
got a collection of wire.
However, if it
Wire,
comes in, yeah, you
exactly.
do. He does have a collection of wires. But what becomes the
I got
problem
one this
is
color, and I got one this color.
Well, it's important to have the right colors for
That's
whatever
right.
you're trying to do.
is that when you don't use it, you get it and you store it and you don't really use it. That's when it becomes a
Her
problem.
mother, Miss Barbara's mother, was the worst that I know, and Jolynn is in here. She can probably attest to this. When I first met Miss Barbara's mother on a trip to Colorado Springs, and my first introduction to the lady, we stayed in the basement of the house. That was set up as a guest room. Well, the guest room was also the catch-all room, as it is in most houses. Everything went in there, where there was every known exercise gadget that you've ever seen on television was down in that basement room.
But that's where you hang clothes.
And you hang clothes on the
Right.
stationary bike, the little thing you sit on and scoot with your butt, and that thing that you know, this one right here, and there was just all of them. That one, remember the one that had the like handlebars with a wheel, and you're supposed to do the push-ups in and out, and yeah, right. They were all piled up down in that basement guest room on Judson Street there in Colorado Springs. And I'll never forget that. And I'll see, you've got a little bit of that too, Miss Barbara.
I do buy something and use it once or twice and then don't use it.
Like
again.
that steamer?
The steamer? Yeah, I got that. Well, I thought I'd use it more because it didn't take up as much
Steam the
space.
clothes, you know,
We,
stand up.
yeah, we
right.
bought a really nice food dehydrator. We used, what, twice?
Oh,
Years
okay,
ago?
no. Let's just tell the story. Okay, I had a food dehydrator and I loved it and I used it, and then a friend asked to borrow it, and then when she gave it back to me, she said, "I think I cleaned all the dog hair out of it."
Oh, Lord.
And I went, "I don't want it anymore, Michael." We packed it up, we gave it away, right?
And she never would ask her friend why she was dehydrating a dog.
So
My dog got wet.
So I bought a new one. Unfortunately, I wasn't dehydrating anything at the
Oh,
time.
hang on. When you bought this new one, how long ago was that?
Talon?
Well, that was a while ago. It just sat in the box.
10 years ago?
No, it wasn't 10 years.
We got rid of the box when we moved out of our house a couple months ago. It was still taped shut.
Well,
But I would say my biggest issue is that I use something, like I buy a hand cream and I'll use it, and then I buy a different hand cream because it smelled good and I wanted that, and so then I have two hand creams, but I'm never going to use both hand creams, but I can't get rid of them because
they're practically brand new.
they all smell different.
I'm the very
So-
same way with toothbrushes. Every time I go to Goodwill, I buy a new toothbrush.
You notice that I knew what he
Another
was going to
toothbrush.
say.
Before you
I've
know
heard
it,
it before.
I like the color. I
That's
like
right.
the taste of this one. Or
Right. I mean, so that's where my hoarding issues are, is something like you only use a little bit of it, and so you hold on to it. Like, you know, if you use that box of Band-Aids and you only use a few of them, and well, you need
that's
those
one thing-
Band-Aids one day.
that's
or
one thing
something,
that don't last around my house
Well,
is Band-Aids.
I don't know, Ace bandage or something.
Yeah, I got
you don't get rid of it. You go, oh, I'm going to need that again one day. But the truth
Well, that's like
is,
visiting a doctor or going into the hospital. They give you those non-skid socks,
yes,
which you can't get on anyway,
right.
but you keep them.
And they're ugly, and you wouldn't wear them inside shoes anyway.
But it's all that kind of stuff for something free, and you go, oh, I might use that one day. You know, those little fans that pop out and stuff, and you go, I'll use that. But do you take it when you go somewhere? No.
So what is the point we're trying to make? If this is point number 2 or 3, the point is, well, it's actually still point number 1. You don't need it.
It all rolls back to one, yeah.
And somebody said, I heard this said, and it's a great adage. If you go to your closet and you can reach up and touch a shirt or a blouse or a pair of pants that you have not worn in a year or 2, and I'm not talking seasonal stuff, you're only going to wear it every winter. If you haven't worn it in 2 years, donate it.
Well, the truth is, a trick that they say is to turn your hanger around backwards, and then as you use it, put it in the other way, and so you'll know what you're actually using and what you won't. What you don't use. And then you can look at it and just go, okay, I haven't worn these in X amount
How
of
does that
time.
help me with my underwear drawer?
You don't hang your underwear?
I don't.
Oh, never mind then.
Okay, well, underwear, if you want to go there.
I don't have an
Only
extra 3
If
hangers.
there's stains,
Well,
it needs to go.
That many?
I got Monday, Thursday, and Saturday.
But the truth is,
Today's Sunday, folks.
we did actually have that question come up. Okay, how how many pairs of underwear do you really need when you're living in the RV? And I was like, well, you don't need that. He's like, you don't need that many pairs of underwear. I'm like, you need lots of, I mean, I think everybody needs lots of underwear, okay? You just never know.
They're reversible, so already.
Is good, right?
That's right.
They're reversible, so already you've cut that number in half.
I told him, I said, the other day, I said, I think I've worn the same underwear like 3 days in a row. And he looked at me and I go, I've washed them every night, put them back in the drawer. It's the first one out.
Yeah, first one out. You're right.
Weird.
Especially,
I see that too. It's the same color. It's the same. You know.
especially with us, because we have a washer and dryer in our RV.
Yep.
So, and an RV washer and dryer is small, so you can't do a lot of laundry. Well, since you can't do a lot of laundry, there's no sense in having a ton of clothes that will just pile up
Right.
before you actually do laundry. Because most people honestly don't do laundry until you need to do laundry. Like, I'm out of socks, I'm out of underwear. Then you do laundry.
Not me.
Or sometimes people wait even
I
after
do
that. Whatever.
I do a lot of
So-
laundry. I'm watching
I like
clothes
By
almost
having
every
less
day.
clothes, you have to do laundry more often.
Right.
Of course, in an RV, you're gonna have less clothes anyway because you have less space for it. Unless you've got like the guy right down there in the Aspire,
Yeah.
the 45-foot Aspire
Yes.
tag
yes.
axle.
Right.
Well,
They have more stuff in that, I bet, than I had in our house before we started downsizing.
Miss Barbara, would you catch us up on those folks in the
well,
room?
first off, James Cantney says why Ricky needs them when he does nude beach work.
Workout.
That's true.
true.
Only
That's
with
true.
Scott though, from
Only with Scott. That's
Right.
right. Naked yoga.
this
Naked
nomadic
yoga.
idea.
Okay. We've
I
got
forgot
Fox
about
Van
that.
D in the room.
Fox Van D. Hello, Miss D. How you
Hey.
doing?
Hey.
And of course, proceeding onward in America, we've got Posh Cats. I said way too much information. We already said that. Linda Barker is here. And so is, I think, Thin Blue Line. Where are they?
Simple Life Big Adventure is here.
Okay,
Blue
yeah.
Lane.
Thin Blue Lane is here. Our Thin Blue Lane RV. So good to see y'all. Says can't type that fast. Hello to all who said hello, my friends. That was from D at Box Van D, and we say the same thing. We're not typing responses back, so we do say hello to everybody, and we're so glad you guys are here. But this conversation, I mean, I did have to say hello real quickly because if you came in the middle of our conversations, you might run away.
Some of them.
So please
All right,
don't.
let's go ahead and get it back on the rails. We're
Yeah.
talking about downsizing. We're talking about preparations for full-time RV life. Turning your previous sticks and bricks into history and moving forward with your life on the road because life is short. And if you watch television, you listen to the doctors, the average life expectancy of the American male is about 75 years.
Which
So
is,
see,
which
I'm
is
only,
way less than females.
of course it is.
And we're not going to go into why because that's
Yeah.
a whole nother video.
Well, something about a tiger and a show, and you know.
Yeah.
But the point is that tells me that I've got 10 good years. If the good Lord blesses me, I've got 10 good years. Me and Miss Barbara want to take those 10 years and enjoy life because we've worked every day since I was old enough to work.
Well, we both have worked, but I just want you all to know, just in case he doesn't make it to 75, I will be putting out ads for a much younger model. You know, somebody that can do all the work around the RV. Just want you to know that up
Slide it
front.
back over. You're cutting off Miss Shelley.
Oh, I'm
there.
sorry.
All right.
It wasn't straight, so I
I
had
know,
to
and you
straighten
want
it.
to
I'm
straighten it. That's cool. That's
sorry.
cool. So anyway, we're getting to the point now where we've talked about we know we got to get rid of stuff. That's what downsizing, the essence, when you boil it all down, that's what you come up with. You got to get rid of stuff. But my question to a couple, Michael and Shelley from our Epic RV Adventure, and you can watch all these videos. Much of what they're touching on here is covered in detail inside their videos. They got a great channel, so be sure and check that out. We'll put that link in here as well. Our Epic RV Adventure, very easy to find. But how did you make the first mindset? What was the first mindset? Let's just walk into this room and start. Or did you say, okay, let's plan this out. Let's go to the garage and clean the garage so we now got places to move things. How did y'all work out the actual logistics?
Okay, so I'm just going to tell you straight off the bat. he wasn't really good about it in the beginning. He wanted the
It was
stuff
overwhelming.
done, but it was overwhelming. Like you walked out to the garage and you're like, I don't even know where to start.
It is overwhelming.
You walk into your closet and you go, I don't know where to start. And I said, look, let's just start. Let's just start here. Let's just take it down a little bit and just do one little bit. And I had to break it down into steps. And really we did start in our master closet. And like, it was a week before we did anything else after
might
that.
as well.
We had to
It was like,
recover from that little walk-in closet. It took a week.
And we didn't have that much stuff in there. It was more like clothes and like, some, I don't know, like shoes and
What
just
is this?
all
What
this
is
different
this?
stuff.
What
Yeah,
is
like
this?
what are we doing with this stuff? And so, because that kind of to me was a catch-all. Like we had a shelf and your clothes would hang and you could put stuff behind the clothes and then you wouldn't see it. And that was my like.
You know what's going
catch-all.
to be hard for me to, I can get rid of shirts and pants and shoes and boots and all that stuff. Hats.
Yeah, hats was a big one for me, and T-shirts.
I'm a hat lover.
Uh,
And I'm not talking just ball caps, which are kind of easy to store. You just stack them
Yeah.
all together and put them in a Ziploc. But I'm talking, I got Stetsons and I've got sombreros and I've got berets and I've got top hats and derbies, and I love hats. And I got no room for those hats.
I got rid of all my hats, and I had a ball cap collection from
They're going to have to be like your Santa Clauses.
decades ago. Here's one thing I came up with that we did was we marked out a place in our garage because we knew we were going to keep some stuff in a store in rent a storage. So marked off 10 by 10 in the garage.
Good idea.
Whatever we want to keep, we put in there, and we
It had to
keep
go
going.
in there.
We keep going until it fills up. Once it fills up, everything else is either got to go or we got to pull something out of it to make room for the other thing.
Good idea.
So that way we knew going in, because plus Shelly's very visual, so being able to see that spot and know, I know I can stack it up at least 10 feet tall probably too.
If the GPS turning 100
Was
yards,
that 10 by
I don't know
10 based on the fact that perhaps you wanted to get a 10 by 10 unit?
We knew that
we wanted to go smaller than that, but
Yeah.
we
we
weren't
started
really
smaller.
sure.
The tape was originally like a 5x8 is where it was taped out, and then it grew.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were realistic when we looked at 5x8 and said, okay, realistically, we know that that's not going to be possible with some of the heirlooms that we have that are like saying, like my father-in-law built a shelf for my son, and it's amazing. It's like, I looked in the Pottery Barn catalog. I'm like, I can't afford this. Can you make this? He said, yes. And I mean, literally, it looks like the one in the catalog. So that's not something we're giving away, but it takes up a lot of room when you put it into a storage unit. So, we had a recliner that Grover's not going anywhere. I mean, that's family heirloom. The kids fight over Grover. So like that had to go in there. So there were some of those items that took our okay, well, we really are still sticking with that 5x8, but we're getting the 10 by 10 so that, it could accommodate the bigger items too.
Yeah.
So.
Lucky Dog Productions moderator, that's Sue. Back up to her comment and put it on the screen there, baby. One click backwards.
One click.
I would also
backward.
recommend
Right there.
too
Hey.
that people get a friend, a trusted friend, or somebody that can help them to make a decision on something when they can't make a decision.
Can you see what it says?
What does it say?
It just says, hey there, Barbara and Ricky at RV Underway. It looks like, look, it's Michael and Shelly at our Epic RV Adventure. They're with you. Awesome.
Talent
just
is
love
awesome.
them.
Talent's
love
right here.
Talon's right here.
Absolutely.
We are very upset. I mean, seriously, in all seriousness, this sidetrack a little bit. We were very upset that we weren't able to meet up with them when we were in Florida last month.
No, it's everything going on in that, because we certainly could have used some more peanut butter burgers and peanut butter beer
Yep, absolutely, absolutely.
and good times.
Yes.
All right, so that's a great idea. 10 by 10 space in, say, your garage,
Right.
and start working on that. And as you get to the point where you fill up the 10 by 10, then you retape it 12 by 12, and then you go to 26 by 32. Before
Well,
you know
you have
it,
to
you
be
just fill up
honest.
the
Buy
No,
garage.
you have to
another
be
house.
honest
Buy
with
another house.
yourself. You have to be honest
Yep.
with yourself and say, the reason we're doing this is because these are pieces that we know we're going to keep. But ultimately, we want the things that are small, like we would have it in a smaller unit.
Yeah. Well,
So-
actually, the first thing we really did was, okay, we're going to be full time in an RV. What can we put in the RV? So the first thing we really had to do is clean out and organize the RV, see what kind of room we had, and also, very important, weigh the RV to make sure that we are
Yes.
not overweight.
Oh, yeah.
Which is very critical, especially if you're in a smaller RV. or travel trailer, your weight is very limited, especially if your tow vehicle is pretty close to that too. So you got to take all that into account.
Well,
So-
and there's two things with an RV. And that one is that you don't, just because you have the space doesn't mean you need to shove something in the space.
Exactly.
Because a lot of people look at a cabinet and they go, oh, I've got all this room in there. And they put stuff in there. But then you realize you have to take stuff out to get to something in the back or whatever. And it doesn't become easy to use, easy to do. So you just end up not using anything in that. So you need to make it functional.
The topic Michael was just talking about was covered in one of his recent videos here just a couple of days ago. He put out a video about weight distribution, tire pressure, and getting your axles weighed. So do go watch that video. Do you know what it's called?
It's actually a video on a air compressor.
Air
review.
compressor, a Bauer air compressor
Air-
from Harbor Freight.
Harbor Freight.
And I'm going to get one. I think
They are
$49, $24
I heard
battery.
they were on sale.
Yeah.
You reckon there's a sale at Harbor Freight?
No, some friends of ours actually went and bought one of those, and the battery was like half price.
Oh no!
And that was just what?
And I'm
week and a half
stuck
ago?
here at
Yeah.
Maxwell 2 weeks from everywhere.
Yeah.
And that sale will be over.
But once we
Who
get
can run go get one for
yeah,
him?
once we got the RV cleaned out, so to speak, and what do we need? Well, we don't need 1,000 sweatshirts, long sleeve shirts, things like that, because we aren't planning on being in freezing weather ever again in our RV. That's the hope. That's the goal.
I tell you what will bring that point home to you and make you realize is go watch a few van life videos.
Yeah.
Go watch some van life videos when they pack up to go somewhere and they can only carry 3 shirts.
Exactly.
They
Gina
and they
and Johnny
encounter
and-
they encounter all different kinds of weather. They need to think hard about those 3 shirts.
Layers.
1 jacket, 3 shirts, and you may have space.
Mhm.
Your closet is that big. It's almost like being back in the Navy. What did I need? I had 3 pair of dungarees, 3 shirts, a pair of boondocker boots, and
I've got admiration for them because I don't think I could downsize that much. I think that there is a point of you downsize to your comfort level because there's no reason to go so small that you're miserable because you think that that's what everybody's doing is downsizing to X amount of square feet. It needs to be your comfort level.
Yeah.
If you're miserable because it's so small or too big, sometimes people get into an RV and it's actually bigger than what they wanted.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you really got to test and know what your comfort level is and the size of the RV you have.
Exactly. And the thing too is if you start in the house and then you downsize your house, like, okay, now I'm ready to move into the RV. Well, you may have twice as much stuff as your RV can handle. So if you already have your RV that you're going to move into, you need to fill it first with what you're going to live in. And then, whatever's in the house, you need to either sell, donate, or keep.
I was just
Trash.
going to ask you, I'm glad you touched on that. That leads us to the next point. How much did donations, Craigslist, newspaper ads, how did you decide which stuff you thought had value enough to sell and which stuff you're just going to get rid of?
If it was a big item, or like we had a consignment store in town that would take like some of like your pictures or knickknacks, little like wall shelves, things like that. So I consigned some of that stuff. I don't recommend it. I will just tell you right now, it's
Are
not
you
worth
still
it.
consigning it now? Did you rent the little space to put it in?
No, it's not like that. You just take it
Okay.
and give it to them, and then they sell it for whatever and give you the money. And I'm just going to tell you, it wasn't worth.
They
Time
tell you
and
what they
effort.
sell it for, then they
Sure.
tell you how much
Sure.
you're going to be.
Wasn't worth time and effort. So we donated a lot of stuff. I did do Craigslist, but I'm going to or not Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace. I'm a fan of that and getting rid of stuff very, very quickly. But I will say that sometimes it's a little bit challenging because they want to pay nothing for it, or they'll say, "Is this available?" And then never,
Hear from them
you never
again.
hear from them again. So you have to have some thick skin if you're going to do some of these because, and
Ricky
you have to
could
be
not do
willing.
that.
Well, help me
You
out
have
just
to be willing to say just no, or just ignore them, or just move on. Because some people just do it to fish, to just see if you're going to even respond to them.
Well, help me out here. You said some big things or some things of value. Give us some examples of stuff
Well,
you had to sell
We
or you
sold.
did sell.
Yeah, we sold exercise equipment. We sold our washer and dryer. We sold some.
We sold our
lighted-
tow dolly.
Our tow dolly. We sold.
Asking price.
Yep. We we sold lighted cabinets from from there. I sold my chairs for bar stool chairs. So that was really good. I sold a chair that I had bought at an MWR sale. It was actually, I know, at Seymour Johnson. I somehow managed to get it back in the car home, and I love that chair, but it was almost a chair and a half, but it wasn't, because Talon would climb up in there with me. She loved that. But obviously we weren't going to take it on the road, and it was just big and bulky, so I sold that.
And did you have a preference as to where you donated your stuff? Was it Goodwill, local DAV, or perhaps a church or something?
We donate to the Salvation Army for the reason that that's a connection with Michael's family. His grandmother, rang the bell for years, and his uncle was a preacher. So,
cool.
Really, that's a tie for us.
Well, that's a tie, a connection. You need to have that.
But they're definitely, the Salvation Army is one that we know is not, one of those that we've talked about, not to go into that, but, is not 90% profit and 10%,
Sure, absolutely. No, you do have to know what you're giving to.
So
with,
they are 90% go, at least 90% going out into the community and helping others. And so that's where we really want to,
as they call it, administrative costs.
Now, we did not do any yard sales at all, simply because the yard sale market in Fayetteville, North Carolina is horrendous.
Well, we'll just say my mental health could not have handled face-to-face conflict, and that's really what it is in Fayetteville.
The buyers are brutal. I mean, you can have a brand new, Keurig in the box, never even take down. You have $1 on it, and they're like, "Will you take 10 cents?" When you say no, well, why not? And it's because it's $45.
Because for you now it's $49.
And all that stuff, it just wasn't worth the money.
Right.
We'll take the tax deduction on the charitable donation, and it was just easier to get rid of. The Facebook Marketplace worked very well. I will say this though, for those of you who are looking to sell stuff, make sure you understand good negotiating techniques. If you really want to sell this item for $50, do not put it on sale for $50, because you will hardly ever sell it. Put it on for $75, and the first person who comes along is probably going to offer $50 for it. You take it, and you're good to go. Or they may even offer you $65.
Well, our daughter had that story. So she had a futon she wanted to sell. That was her husband's, and so they put it on Facebook Marketplace, and it sat there. It sat there for like 2 weeks or something. Then all of a sudden, this lady said, "Hey, I just want the mattress. Can I buy the mattress?" And she said, "Okay, fine. You can put the mattress. You can have the mattress." And so then it just sat there, and her husband's like, "Okay, let's just get rid of the frame. Nobody's gonna want the frame." And she goes, "No, we're just gonna let it sit here. It's all right. Just be patient." Somebody came along and paid full price for the frame, so she actually made double what she would have made on the futon by just being patient. So that again is, unless you're on a super big time frame, like we had to be out of our house at a certain time, but she doesn't have to be out of her house. So if you're just trying to downsize.
Barbara, would you put the invite link up there again? Anybody out there?
And that's the other thing, because you mentioned that at the beginning of the stream about talking about getting the house on the market first to push you.
Right.
Well, that's kind of what we did, and
they jumped and bit right away, didn't they?
And they did, and they jumped and bit before we ever put the lure in the water. So
the realtor said, "It's up to you. It's your time frame now. It's how quick can you get done, because your house is ready to go. We just need to do X, Y, and Z, and you're good."
But if you talk to the realtor first, because this is what I wanted to do. I didn't want to do a ton of work, because I know in the past, we were okay, you're getting ready to sell a house. What do you got to do? Well, you paint everything. Inside and out, and you do all this other stuff. I'm like, well, I know for where we're at, the Fort Bragg area, Fayetteville, North Carolina at the time, was a very hot seller's market that was just getting hotter. It and so.
Well, that's the problem right now, being a seller's market, and we want to do this. We need to go ahead and strike while the iron is hot, and also force ourselves into this evolution of downsizing. It's got to be done.
So when you get back home, actually before you get back home, when we were on Monday morning, you call a realtor. That's tomorrow, by the way. I didn't say a Monday morning. I said tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning.
You call a realtor. You set up an appointment for the day after you guys get back from Mayberry, and then let the realtor tell you what you need to do to your house to get it ready to go.
Right.
And then you start working on those items.
Well, the first realtor is going to walk in, he's going to pass out, and we'll never see him again. And then maybe
Well,
the
then you
second or
schedule
third.
two.
Yeah.
You schedule two, and do that. And for those of you thinking about going out into full-time living or just downsizing to a smaller home, and get rid of the home you currently have, that's what you do. You just make that appointment. Talk to the realtor. Now, talk to the realtor free. So just do it. They will give you the advice you need. And honestly, when we talked to the realtor, we were like, we've got to do this quickly because this is better than what we thought it was going to be. So we wanted to go right now. So that was a big thing for us.
Want to say hello to the Journey Awaits.
Journey Awaits.
Mm-hmm.
Proud y'all are here. If any of you are out there and you have just gone through or in the recent past gone through a downsizing situation in your lifestyle, we'd love to get you up on the panel today. We've got looks like about 14 minutes left up here, and we'd love to have you come in. We put a link, and Miss Barbara's going to go ahead and post that link. She just did. She posted it right there. If you've recently gone through a downsizing situation in your life, then come on board and maybe give us some pointers as to what might help in our situation. And we really appreciate Michael and Shelley from our Epic RV Adventure and Talon down here.
There's a question in
and
here.
Talon
Linda,
is
Linda
sleeping.
Barker
Yeah,
asked a
Linda's got a question.
question.
I just saw that.
She said, how do you get rid of old computers and monitors?
Give them to Ricky.
No.
He doesn't know the answer to that question, obviously. No, actually, contact your
There's
local
five.
sanitation department.
There's 5 computers in this RV right now, and I'm not talking laptops.
I have a laptop.
Well, one of them's a
This one.
laptop.
That's 4.
Yeah.
Then that's not including any iPads.
And I've got a Pi. One of the Pis.
Oh,
back
Raspberry
there.
Pi?
Yeah, Raspberry.
Yeah. So Linda,
So there's computers all over the place in this thing.
Yeah, Linda, just
Anyway.
talk to your reach out to your local county, city sanitation department. Most of them have an electronics disposal
They do.
section, and they will tell you what you
And
do.
some larger cities, if you're living near a large city, they have a reclamation place that will take it and they will grind up computers and salvage them for their valuable, the metals and stuff out of
Silver
them.
and gold.
Yeah, so there are places take them. I know when we lived in Dallas, we would take all our old computers to them, and almost like selling aluminum cans, they'd give you so much money per pound, but they'd smelt them and come out with the separated metals and things of that nature. So maybe near a larger city, you can find a place to dispose of them. Otherwise, set them out by the road. Let the garbage man get them because they ain't nothing but boat
Somebody
anchors.
always takes stuff that you set by the road.
That was a big thing too in Fayetteville.
I wonder who that is.
Yeah. That was a big thing in Fayetteville. People
We
would just
have-
put stuff on the side of the road with a sign saying
Yeah.
free. They'd
Free.
be gone like that.
That's right.
A friend of ours, we know them, put a TV,
That's like a 50.
huge 50-inch TV on the side of the road, said free. He took a picture of it and put it on Facebook. A few hours later, that TV was sitting on the couch in my living room, and that TV has not moved from that couch in my living room
I'm
since
waiting.
he put it on the road.
I'm waiting for 2 diodes and a couple of capacitors to come in. They're coming from China. It's going to take a while to get
Especially
them.
now that COVID's happened, you've got to increase that shipping
Okay,
time by about 6 months.
Where are you going to put that 50-inch TV in here?
I'm gonna hang it on the outside.
Oh, okay.
We do have a 48-inch
I mean, you
TV
got
for outside.
room right
Okay.
here.
Oh yeah, I got room. I got
Okay.
room right there.
Yeah.
That's right
Okay, all right.
there.
No, we
So-
don't need it.
But anyway, if you'd like to come on board with us, we got a few minutes left. Any pointers that you've got for us, we'd love to talk to you in person. Come in the chat with us, and we'll bring you in the green the back room, and then put you on live. So feel free to click on that link that Miss Barbara has punched in there. And we want to thank everybody for being with us today. Before we get carried away in another conversation, we covered most everything. What we didn't cover was the actual closing on the house, the actual process of putting your signature down for the very last time and turning your back on that house
I think
to
it was-
never live in it again. I'm not going to say to never see it again. We
Right.
always revisit our
I
old
think it was
houses and look at
different
them.
for
But
us because when we left to go to Texas to take some things to our daughter, we anticipated going back, and then we got stopped in Red Bay for a couple items of warranty work that had to be done. So he didn't really have that opportunity to be like in the house for the last time kind of thing. That was really me. I mean,
Yeah, when I left the house, I didn't realize it was the last time I was ever leaving that house.
now
Wow.
in fairness, that we were back in Fayetteville before we actually the house closed and whatever. I mean, we could have walked back in the house and walked through it, but I asked him and he said, "No, I'm done. I've made I've cut that once I left and made peace that I wasn't going to go back in it." So we just didn't, and so we were there for a week waiting for the final stuff, it to be recorded and then your check cut and all that kind of stuff. So
Need to check. That's the thing.
yeah, the check.
Show me the money.
I'm just making sure we're all caught up. Artist on the road
I'm sure
says,
we're all
"Hey,
caught
hey,
up.
y'all."
Nursing Our Travel Bug is here,
I think
and
they're talking a lot about Mayberry. I think everybody's getting really
It's getting
excited.
a little
I mean,
bit.
Well,
it's there now.
Y'all can be
It's
excited about it.
time.
We're disappointed about it
disappointed.
because you guys are actually leaving us to go to Mayberry.
Wednesday.
We're just a stop on the way for you guys. Is all we really
actually, that's it. That's true. You are just a stop on the way.
are. Just a distraction.
Just a distraction. We needed to get off the road because it was raining, and you know how it is when
And
you
we had
drive
driven
in
for
the
2
rain.
hours,
For
and we
2
had to get off the road.
Well, that was after you got off the road. But 2 hours.
That's true.
We got off the road after 2 hours, and then it was another 2 hours once we got on base. So
I know. She said, "We'll be there in an hour." And I go, "Okay."
Yeah.
An hour would be 12:30. At 2:00, I still hadn't seen them. We're like, "Okay, now it's 2:30."
do that again.
Apple Watch.
It doesn't turn on until you look at it.
Right.
Yeah.
What does it do? See
Mine
your
does-
retinas
yeah,
or
see,
your
mine does the
face
same
or
thing.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the movement.
What? Mine does too. What? See there? Casio. Does anybody remember that line from? Does anybody remember that line from the movie Trains, Planes, and Automobiles? Where John Candy tried to get that hotel room because Steve Martin had gone in, and the guy says, he didn't have no credit cards, no cash or anything, but he was wearing a Rolex, so he's got a hotel room. Meanwhile, sitting out in the car that was burned up and had no rag top on it because they'd set it on fire, John Candy was out there in the snow shivering. So next thing you know, you see him at the counter, and he says to the guy behind the counter, he goes, "Casio." And then you see him back out in the car shivering. That was the scene where John Candy and Steve Martin were in the same bed, and one of them woke up and said, "Where's your hands?" Between two pillows. "Those aren't pillows. How about them bears, huh? How about them bears?"
Well, I will say, being with these two, it's always a movie line. There's a movie line for something on everything.
And Mark over at the Art of RV.
All
he
you
would
have
be
to
like
know
a
is Raising
stiff, right.
Arizona.
Oh,
So okay, you've closed on your house. You've turned your back on your house for the last time and walked away. You made your peace with that piece of property that meant so much to you for so many years. And now tell me how it feels. You don't own physical stationary property. I'm not saying that you don't. You may have other family
so,
land somewhere.
technically,
Yeah,
no,
technically.
We
Well,
still have family estate land.
But a house. But a house.
it's not even property you can put anything on. It's swampland, but okay.
But a house.
Right.
You don't have a house.
I think the most important thing is your mental health and well-being, and that is go spend 2 weeks with full-time friends
Yeah.
right afterwards. And
Did that really help? That was
sure,
important.
I know. I just.
But did you? Is that what y'all did?
Yeah, it just worked out. It just happened to work out that
Was
way.
that Dustin and Leslie?
Dustin
Y'all
and
spent
Leslie.
time?
And it just happened to be where I grew up. We
Right.
met and spent time where I grew.
And I saw that video, and you can see
Yeah.
that video too over at Our Epic RV Adventure.
And I just think it was good because then some of those questions of trying to. I would say it's taken me a long time, and I'm still rearranging and doing different things.
Sure.
But it was nice to have somebody who's already kind of been through it, and you'd say, hey, what did you do about this? And what did you do about that? And where do you put this? And even though they have...
Would you do me a favor and click
it was
on
still okay.
Lucky Dog Productions moderator? No, not there. Up in the corner, 3 dots. No, go back down to Lucky. Yeah, right there. And
why are you going to block her?
I wasn't. I was going to make her a moderator, but I can't figure out it.
Oh, you got to do that from the YouTube.
From over here.
You got to do that from the YouTube.
So right
Well,
here.
there's YouTube.
Yeah,
I'll do it for you.
Okay, please. Oh, wait a minute. She's already a moderator.
She should be.
She
Yeah,
is.
she's a moderator.
If you would, Sue, if you would post our epic RV adventure, Lucky Dog Productions, and also Nursing Our Travel Bug. If you would throw those 3 links up there, and anybody else. Yeah, I keep forgetting I'm looking at StreamYard
You're
here.
looking at StreamYard.
And I see where she already, Miss Sue is on that. I appreciate it so very much.
She is awesome.
She
But
got
not just with the YouTube stuff. She's just awesome in general.
I
I have a
thought,
blue wrench, huh?
what's that now?
She's like, I am a moderator. I have the blue wrench.
Yeah, and I'm looking over here going, man, I thought I made her a moderator. I kept waiting for somebody blue to swing by over here, and they never did. How much time we got left, babe?
We have 4 minutes.
We got 4 minutes left.
So you go, like, it says, you have the rule number 1, and then they say it, and then rule number 2, if you don't understand it, see rule number 1. And
Yes.
that's really the same with downsizing is, you don't need everything. So just keep going back to that. You don't need everything.
And don't be nervous about getting rid of something because you think you might need it later. Because if you actually need it, they probably still sell it, so you can buy it later.
You mean
Are
like
you
the saw?
sure?
Huh?
Like the saw?
Yeah, like a handsaw.
All right. Here is my final question.
All right.
Spinal Jeopardy.
Did you go into full-time RVing with an exit plan?
No.
You have no exit plan, no safety net at this point.
No. And we,
Okay.
we talked about that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, especially with the Rona, got real nervous about having a place to stay or finding a place to go. Now, one thing, very last resort we could do is my parents. We could go back to my parents' house because they have land and there's a 50 amp connection, water, sewage, all that stuff. We have that, but that's not our backup plan or exit plan at all. We
love in-laws, but we
feel that we
yeah.
feel
Live on
comfortable
property.
enough between Thousand Trails, military campgrounds, and any regular campground. If a lockdown situation happened again, we'd be fine.
we'd just be locked down wherever we're at.
Yeah, and the people who got
So if you know a lockdown's coming, go to someplace great because you can't leave.
right.
Well,
And
we
if you-
did that.
if people,
So
like,
we switched from Fort Bragg to
Yeah.
Keesler so that if we
Yeah.
get locked down, we're locked down the beach next
yeah,
time.
see, like
Yeah.
I know Thin Blue Lane here, Bill's in here. They spent most of the lockdown at Thousand Trails, so it cost them nothing.
Yeah.
So that it was free living for them.
Hold on, we only had a couple minutes and we have a question. Did we downsize anything we wish we had kept and had to replace? I'm going to be really honest. I know a lot of people say, nope, I don't regret anything, da 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 da. I will say I have momentary seconds of regret of things. I'm like, oh.
Is it those things
And
you
then-
reach for and then you realize I
Yeah,
don't have that?
kinda.
I don't have that anymore.
Kind of, but I mean, it's really like more along the lines of, you can't use it in the RV, so you didn't bring it or whatever, and it's something you would have, you would have had.
Yeah.
And I go, oh, or I sometimes I do miss like having the house, but I go back to myself and say, hey, this is a life, and with this life comes certain parameters, and you either have to accept those parameters, or you're in the wrong. The wrong thing.
We have
So,
so much stuff
I
as
just remind
Americans
myself of that.
That's
that
true.
we don't need, that
Yeah.
people in other countries don't even know exist, and they live just fine. Just go in it with that mentality.
All right, folks, we got to go ahead and say so long, but I want to thank Michael and Shelley and Talon down here for being our guests this afternoon. We're at Maxwell Air Force Base at the FAM camp, and we're going to be here for a couple of more days. And if you want to check out their videos on downsizing or anything else, they have quite a few videos. Michael even does a morning devotion. Do you still do a devotion, Shelley?
I never did it.
Okay, all right. But go see their channel. It is Our Epic RV Adventure. If you'd also like to see some other videos on downsizing, check out Larry and Alice over at Downsizing Makes Sense. They had a parallel course where they were downsizing, and they downsized right into COVID. The first week on the road, COVID locked everything down and they were stuck. Go check that out. Thank you very much to our moderators. Put your link in the chat there. Thank you, Sue. Appreciate that. And don't forget that Nursing Our Travel Bug is coming up next, Miss Barbara.
From the car. They're coming up from the car.
They're coming live from the car. I do want to say, and you know who you are. Okay, you know who you are. Talon loves me more. Just you know who you are.
Aunt Barbara. Talon's new Aunt
I
Barbara.
didn't see them in the chat.
Ooh,
But
they're not. I'm hoping, and this is a challenge. They weren't in the chat. I'm not going to say who they are, but this is a challenge to make sure that they watch the replay. Talon loves me more.
All right, folks.
All right.
God bless y'all. Thank you to Michael and Shelly and Talon. And y'all have a great Sunday, and we'll catch you next Sunday.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Look forward to seeing y'all at Mayberry.
Bye-bye. It's been fun.
Look at twice.